Hey, everybody, welcome back for another episode of The Overlay, a poker podcast brought to you by CCG Poker, Chicagoland's #1 charity live poker experience. What up, Brando?
What up? What up?
Today, we're going to play a little game that we invented 8 seconds ago called Poker Fact or Fiction.
I like it.
Yeah, you liked it 8 seconds ago.
Am I going to be asking or am I going to be answering?
I think you're going to do the answering. I think obviously we're going to agree on like what's what, but like I want to talk about, it's like poker myths kind of busted, and then but some of them are like hold some truth. So then that's why I kind of like the idea of doing fact or fiction, poker fact or fiction. Let's see what it is. Before we get into the actual episode,
I was about to say this is record time.
Yeah, it's too fast. I feels weird to go that quickly into the actual content that we're trying to get to. It is September 19th, 2024. The WSOP circuit event starts at the Hammond Horseshoe Casino today, right?
In about 1 hour.
Yeah, event number 1, $400. Is there a guarantee on that one?
$500,000.
Woo, $500,000? Say that again. $500,000?
$500,000.
So what's first place on a $500,000 guaranteed $400 tournament? Which, you know what? I know we talked about the rake and how it's kind of lopsided, and I'm not crazy about that. However, on the other token, you throw in that $500,000 guarantee, and you're like, maybe it's not so bad.
Usually they crush it too. Usually it gets like $700K in the prize pool.
And like, what's first place in that one?
$500K prize pool. I mean, we're looking at 100 and something, 120.
So
110, 130K.
Not life changing money, as in like you get to quit your job and become a full-time poker pro content creator. More like you get a full reset with like tons of vacays coming in the next 3 or 4 years and some poker budget money that you weren't going to do anyways. Like, I wouldn't say life-changing on a grandioso scale, but like, I don't know, 120K to any person out there is going to be like, yeah, that's pretty sweet, whatever it is.
I mean, you just think of it like, oh, let me fire 20K to my credit card / student loans.
Correct.
Oh, let me put 50Ks here. And then It's like, oh, I got 30K to play with poker with, and then I got 20K left over to give my mom or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
It's definitely, you can do a lot.
There's a lot of stuff you get to do, and you
especially
get
for a 400 buy-in. Anybody can afford 400.
Yeah. So our first fact or fiction. I'm trying to word this so that you can answer fact or fiction. A $400 tournament with a poor rake, because the rake is $70 of the 400, right? It's a little high.
Number. A little high.
It's a little high. On a $400 tournament, we think of 400s as the top end at CCG. So when you think of the WSOP, that's the absolute bottom of the barrel. So I don't know. I do think that the rake for the players is a little high, regardless of the buy-in. But when you throw in the $500,000 guarantee, which you know is going to drive a lot more players, because as soon as people see the $500,000, they're going to go and play. So first fact or fiction, Brando. Is event number 1 at the WSOP a good tournament to play in or no? Fact or fiction? Event number 1 is a great tournament to invest your $400. If you only had $400 to play in the WSOP, this is the tournament you should play. Fact or fiction?
God, that's just, you ordered that. I was going to go 100% fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of made
I threw a curveball. It's your only.
It's
your only 400. So you only got $400. That's what you got in the poker budget at the end of September. You got whatever coming up, and you're like, all right, I got 400s. Should I play? What should I? Is the event number 1 fact or fiction? That's the number 1 choice that you should play in.
Fiction.
Yeah, I kind of think fiction too. I think in that very specific scenario with $400, I think you'd be better off trying to rip a couple of the nightly, like 200 deep stacks, or how much are the deep stacks at the end of the nights?
Yeah, I think they're like 150 nightlies, but there's perfect. That 400 monster stack, which is basically the exact same tournament, but with double the chips and no guarantee.
Oh yeah, then that's 100.
If you got one bullet, you're gonna skip this the first event.
Right.
And you're not gonna win 100K. If you win, it's gonna be more like 35 or 40 or something.
Right.
But you're going to get a lot more play and more bang for your buck. I fear that
the crapshoot side is still the same, right? Like the number of players and the landmines that you got to avoid in a $400 tournament at the WSOP circuit event are going to be the same for event number 1 and the monster stack. Obviously,
yeah, I think they're the same. It's the same player pool.
But I would rather get more chips and have more play and feel like I could play poker versus I'm straight up. Now, granted, it's better than buying a lottery ticket, but, I don't know. I feel like you just got to get kind of super hot, super fast in event number one. And
you really do. I mean, and even if you work your 20K up to 60 or 80, it's like the early bird, man. It's just like, it's never enough.
No.
The blinds
they're going to catch up with you.
They're coming. They're coming quick and fast. And like, they're coming for everybody. So it just makes everybody play a little loosey-goosey.
Okay, question number 2. Is it normal for poker players to ask a tournament director, are the blinds going to go up the entire tournament? Fact or fiction? Is it appropriate for a player to ask the TD, hey, are the blinds going to go up all the time?
Oh, that's an inappropriate question.
Yeah, fact, that's inappropriate question. It always blows my mind. And like people will say it all the time, like, oh, wait, the blinds are going to continue to go up? And I was like, yeah, have you never played a poker tournament before? And then I try to do it where I'm not condescending Dick Ken, and I'm trying to be nice, open.
Nice tournament director Ken? Proper.
I'm trying to be nice new customer Ken, because clearly this is a new person. They probably never played live poker before. I don't want to be the person, the poker player who, like, shames
steers
or makes...
them away from
I don't want to be a poker bully. I fucking hate poker bullies. I love punching poker bullies in the face, either if that's waiting for them in the bathroom or a dark alley or the parking lot, or I just, snap them off at like 7-3 offsuit, and I metaphorically punch them in the face. I hate when regs and grinders make fun of new players, because it's like, guys, these are the people that are going to be filling the games, and if we make fun of all of the quote unquote, I'm air quoting, bad players because they don't know that, yes, obviously the blinds are going to go up. It's not a cash game. Like, they're going to go up every 30, 40, whatever the structure is. Like, there's no cap in a tournament. You just keep going. It's the whole purpose of a tournament. But poker bullies are a thing. Fact or fiction, have you ever punched somebody in a poker room, Brandon?
I have had a hot dog thrown at me.
Nice. Jumbo or average sized?
I think average size, but I don't know what average size is these days.
I knew you fucking fell into that one. Oh, no.
But no, I have not thrown any punches.
Yeah, the casino is probably the number one place for people to not get into physical confrontations because of the fact that you're going to get booted. Yeah, so it's like you can kind of be more mouthy if you're one of those people. It's not like a bar where you got to wait for a bouncer to come break it up. Like 9 times out of 10, like 99 times out of 100, like you're never getting there. Okay, back to fact or fiction. Let's see. What fact or fiction do we want to start with?
We have already done 2.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's great. I just wanted to see what else we got. Okay, I'm going to start right at the top of my list of here are some poker myths you could discuss and debunk on your podcast. Thanks, ChatGPT. This episode brought to you by ChatGPT 4.0. I love AI. It's fucking phenomenal. Although I did see a meme this morning.
Give it a decade, you might be out of a job.
I know. I saw a meme this morning. It was like, I don't want AI to write. I don't want AI to make artwork and write for me. I want it to do laundry and clean my house, and I'll make art and write. Like, I want to do the fun shit. You do the menial tasks that nobody wants. But that's how Skynet starts, and then the end of the world is we force robots into slavery, home cleaning robots. Okay, fact or fiction, Brando? Poker is all about bluffing. Fact or fiction? Or middle?
Fiction.
Fiction. I would agree it's fiction, but on like a scale of like super tilted towards one way or the other. I feel like this one's kind of like there's a little gray area there. There's some truth to this saying. Poker is all about bluffing. I guess it's not all about bluffing. I guess I'm reading it. I was thinking
it's kind of all about telling a story, right? And whether or not you're...
Yeah. You always tell me
you're lying or not.
I wasn't telling a very good story whenever I fire massive bluffs. They're like, well, how did you set it up? And I was like, I didn't. I just jammed it in there and hoped that it was a bluff. I had nothing
on the river, and then I went all in.
Right. You got to set that up earlier. So poker's not all about bluffing. No. I you know what? Now that I read it again and think about it and 100%, like that's fiction. Like that's not a real thing.
You do need to bluff. And
you do need to bluff, and it is a part of the game. Right.
But, the guys that go all in, it always works until it doesn't, right? Bluffs work every time until
it doesn't.
You can't really win the tournament with a bluff, too. You kind of got to have the winning hand.
Yeah, as ChatGPT says. But most of the time, poker is about playing solid hands and making the right decisions based on odds and opponent tendencies, not just about bluffing. Bluffing is a small portion of poker. It is not all about poker. So if you have to say it's all about poker, that answer would be no. Fiction.
Isn't it sad that we've been playing poker for 25 years and ChatGPT is just already better than us? They just showed up.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, oh, here I am. I'm better than you. Like, cool. I've been spending 20 years working on my
wasted my whole life. Appreciate it, ChatGPT. Hope to see you in a bathroom or a dark alley sometime soon.
Right. ChatGPT ain't playing this 400 today.
Nope. They know damn well that that's a fiction. Bad one to choose. All right. Okay, here we go. Poker is pure luck. Fact or fiction?
Fiction again.
Yeah. I hope we have some myths that are actually real.
Facts?
Yeah, but we'll find out. As of right now.
Well, if it's a myth, it's gonna all be fiction, right?
Right. Maybe. Yeah, either way.
But, yeah,
I like fact or fiction. It's like our own little game show.
I think we've learned as a poker community and as a government and as a poker playing community that we all kind of understand it's not 100% luck anymore. Sure, every hand it could be lucky.
I think these are myths because we're giving it like an absolute. Poker is all about bluffing. That's not true. Poker is pure luck. That's not true. Are bluffing a factor in poker? Obviously. Is luck a factor in poker? Obviously. If it wasn't, Phil Hellmuth would win every tournament. Which brings me to number 3. Fact or fiction, good players always win.
So this one's kind of, I can argue this is a fact.
I will say in this instance, it's our first agreed upon fact. I agree. Good players always win. And
you just need to add comma in the long run.
It's the long run. It's the end game. It's not in the short term. It's always about your sample size, right? If you take a guy like Phil Hellmuth, and arguably, he's a total asshole, but he's very good. I mean, he's got the most bracelets. He's won a lot of money. He's done very well for himself. He's a brand. Everybody knows him. Love him or hate him, you know him. And that's what people always talk about. Like, he's got both sides of the watching him, and that's all he needs is just eyes on him. So I would say, yes, as long as you add comma in the long run, the better players will always win in the long run.
I mean, if you look at the top percent of poker players in the world, they're all winners.
Correct.
It's impossible to be a loser.
You put me up against Daniel Negreanu heads up for a year. What do you think? What's the percent? Right. What's the percentage that I'm winning out of 365 days? We play one heads up match a day. How many times?
You might win 100, and he might win 265, which is just absolutely steamrolling you.
Super impressed that you gave me 100 out of 365. One out of 4.
You're probably going to get lucky.
1 out of 4. 1 out of 3.6. I guess that's not terrible. It's pretty good. I would have gone more with like 50.
I mean, that's you winning like once or twice a week.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I would say that's our first fact. Actually, here's another one. So yes, good players in the long run will always win. Another one. Reading faces is the key to success in poker. So like being able to read other players. What do you think? Fact or fiction?
Is the key or a key?
Reading faces is the key to success. So it's kind of going to be weird like this. Like they absolute it because like it's hard to say any one item is the absolute reason. So I guess that's kind of how ChatGPT cheats the system here. But yeah.
Yeah, they are.
What if you said
AI after all?
What if you said?
Yes, I agree. Fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
I would say I'm kind of. I give this one like a friction. It's like halfway between fact and fiction. Is that friction?
Friction, yeah.
I'm in the middle. I think reading people. It's hard. I think people have gotten better at like changing or forcing their facial expressions and body language to be different.
Yeah, I agree.
So I feel like, anytime we feel like we get something up on poker, like, like if you're, I remember like when I first really started playing like in the poker boom, like just before Moneymaker, I remember they were always talking about, like, if a player is leaning forward at the table, that means they have a good hand. And if a player is leaning back from the table after they bet, it's typically that they are bluffing and they want you to feel like they're confident, but they're actually not. When they're leaning forward, it's when they're very confident because they're anticipating grabbing your chips as you put them in the pot. Like, I remember that being a thing from, like, not Mike Sexton. Who's the other guy who wrote all those books?
Mike Skolansky.
There you go. Thanks, Brando. This is why you're the best co-host ever. Yeah, like, that was like a huge thing. And then like I remember like when I'd be playing at home games, this is how long ago it was. I was in my early 20s, pre-CCG, like fucking ancient. They didn't have numbers on the cards at that time. They were just like the dots that you had to count. It's not that old, but close. And like I remember thinking to myself, like when I was bluffing, like I would physically move myself forward to try to give off an opposite type
like
of
a reverse tell.
Like a reverse tell. So I think if you changed it from, reading faces or reading players, I guess is a better way to say it. Reading players is a key to success, then 100% that's a fact. I mean, it's just,
I think I would.
Is it a top three?
Reverse it.
Was it a top three for you?
It's one of those things where if somebody is giving away tells, everybody's going to know and it's going to be super easy.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're playing against, your sister who has no idea anything about tells or plays poker before, it's going to be a huge factor because, like, they don't know that they're doing it. In the poker world, playing against other poker players, it might get diminished some because we're all kind of aware of it.
So it's kind of like in the late stages of a tournament, that becomes less and less relevant, right?
Probably.
Because theoretically, if you're in the event number one at the WSOP, like, you've got, how many people playing that fucker? Like 2,000?
Something like that.
Okay, let's just say 1,000 players. When you start at 1,000, obviously the ratio of bad to good players is much different than when you get down to the last three tables of like 20-something players, where in theory these are the number of good players to bad players where like they have no idea that by leaning forward, and I'm just using it as an example, I don't even know if that's really a thing anymore.
For sure.
But like, three betting under the gun, blah, 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 like that GTO stuff, like that is where you can start playing a little bit more kind of, GTO type game theory versus early in the tournament where it's like, I don't know, this guy's just wasting his 400 because he thought he saw it on TV and it would be cool to play a WSOP event. He really doesn't care about playing, and he's not leaning forward because he's got a good hand. He's leaning forward because he's an idiot and just wants to lean on the table, right? Like, or he's scoping the waitress behind him. Like they don't actually mean anything. And it's like you kind of overread into like reading people and bluffing and betting patterns and stuff. I feel like early stages in a tournament, not quite as valuable as when you get towards the end, as my
You
point.
can kind of just play ABC poker at the beginning and
Play ABC.
let the bad people give you your chips.
Correct. Let the fish
However,
fish.
I will say, for a $400 tournament, once you get down to the final 6 and 7 and the money actually starts to matter, maybe then people actually do get nervous. That like me, like I feel like if I'm running a bluff when there's a $28,000 pay jump, like I'm probably going to be nervous, even though, in general, I don't get nervous.
Sure.
So maybe once you get towards the very end, like
like bubble
tells
time,
start coming out again.
Bubble time and ladder jumps, things of that nature.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, when I was all in on the bubble of the WSOP in 2021,
your heart was like bum 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 bum.
It was
bum,
literally pumping. Like if I wasn't wearing a hoodie covering my neck, like you could have just seen
that artery would have been
my neck.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with that. Facts. No cap. Wait, which one's cap and no cap? No cap.
No cap means fact.
No cap.
Cap means fiction.
Why? Why does cap mean fiction?
Like you're capping. Like
I don't know. Just by you saying it in a with an ing at the end doesn't. I have no idea what that means. Capping.
Cap is
fact or fiction.
Synonym of lie.
So if no cap means like no lying.
Not lying.
Cap means, dude. Do people just say cap or they just use like no cap?
That's it. Cap.
Cap
and no cap.
Cap. Like if a cop comes up and pulls me over and he's like, "You were going 94 and it's 55," so I'd be like, "Cap."
Yeah, correct.
Probably going to get shot at.
You should try that.
I should try that. Yeah, because the last time I told him, ooh, a new personal best, he did not find funny. That's a fact. Your favorite one, which I really do not want to spend any time on. Online poker is rigged. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Yeah, 100% fiction. I think the days of like super users, and even then, like the amount of players that were on at those times, like how much could you have really been affected, even if there was a super user? Like, I don't know.
Well, there's two different things. It's like, is it cheating or is it rigged? Those are two
I got you.
Sure, there's cheaters.
Rigged isn't like the random number generator's terrible and so it's funny. I saw a TikTok for what's the movie with Bryan Cranston where he like finds a mathematical anomaly in the lottery. He plays like an older guy and like his wife's famous too.
He buys all the tickets.
I've never seen it. He buys like $8,000 worth of lottery tickets with this math thing that he figured out, and then he ended up winning like 15. He didn't win this jackpot, but like clearly he made a shit house full of money. You're in for 8, out for 15. Like I will do that every Friday. That sounds great. But in there, he was talking to like the bank teller who clearly could give two flying fucks what he's talking about. But he's like,
I've seen this clip too.
And he's like, if you flip a quarter one time, is it 50-50? Yeah, it is. If you do it 100 times, could you get, 60-40? And you start thinking, well, is it really 50-50? Because I did it 100 times. He's like, yeah, the bigger, if you flip it 1,000 times, you're going to get closer to that number of the actual probability of something happening. My feeling is that 100% relates to online poker because we got so spoiled of getting infinite number of hands per hour that just the sample size was so much bigger. So yeah, you did feel like you got screwed on your kings and aces so much more often.
Or you saw straight flushes and stuff like
that. But
it's
because
you're playing 180 hands an hour.
Right. Charity poker, you're getting, 20, 25 hands an hour in I mean, that's in the better cash games. Like, you're playing a tournament in the Bird.
20 in the tournament and 30 in the cash game.
And that's legit. That's pretty good. Like, if online poker, you were getting what?
60 an hour, hand a minute per table.
And instant table moves, no breaks, like, just absolute perfection, unattainable human error. It just is never going to happen. So my feeling is people got the idea of online poker is rigged because the sample size was so big, and we were and wait. So not only are you getting 2 to 3 times more hands per hour in either tournaments or cash games than you normally would get in a home game or a live setting. Now you're also talking about the fact, Brando, fact or fiction, when you played online poker, how many times were you just playing one thing? Like one tournament?
Never, really.
Yeah, never.
Basically.
I was always playing either 1 cent, 2 cent. My last $3, like these homeboys playing stakes now, or stake the slot machines at the events, which is just bananas. We could do a whole episode on online slots and the perils of not getting involved in that world. But yeah, I mean, it's like
better before I got involved.
Yeah, not only were you getting 2 to 3 times per hands an hour, you're also playing 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, and there were people that were 12 tables. I mean, in the heyday, what was your boy doing?
Yeah, 12. He was 12 tabling.
12 tables. Like, that's, I don't even know the math.
12 times 30, 12 times 60, 720 hands an hour
versus 25 to 30. So yeah, no shit. People thought it was rigged.
25. It's 30x.
Yeah, I mean, it always amazes me. Like, well, it's such a bad beat. I'm like, well, you were 80-20 winner there. Like, he wins or she wins 1 out of 5 times. Like, that's not. I mean, would you play Russian roulette? Absolutely not. Well, that's what you're doing in your tournament life. You're playing worse odds. Russian roulette, you got 1 out of 6. That's better. It's like 83%. Like you're flipping at 1 out of 5. Like. Yep. You're going second in Russian roulette. That's even worse. No one of them.
Click.
Right.
First one click. And
yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Now you got no way I go second in Russian roulette. If I play Russian roulette, I always want to go second because I'm just gonna be like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not playing.
You know, the first guy just loses.
Just hope the first guy rips it and you're good. All right. Online poker is 100% not rigged.
I have a random trivia question for you.
Okay.
Speaking of Bryan Cranston and the lotto, how much do you think Americans
Okay.
spend in the lotto
No.
yearly?
It makes
I will give you a hint.
yearly.
Yearly.
Fuck.
Go bigger than you'd think.
I mean, are we in the trillions?
We're not in the trillions.
$680 billion.
Okay, that's
What I
you
get?
did go big. Now my answer seems underwhelming. 105 billion.
Isn't it the trillions? No, we ain't fucking sending people to Mars here, Kenny. It's just a lottery. The thing that gets me,
1/10 of a trillion.
fact or fiction, is the lottery something that you should be playing?
Fiction.
Yeah, 100%. You should not be playing lottery tickets. You should be playing the $20 early bird. You get a much better
really
chance of winning money week in and week out playing the early bird. And I play the early bird, and if you want the feeling of a scratch-off ticket, just don't look at your cards. Just randomly go all in. Like every 5 hands, just go all in. And I promise you, you will win more money doing that style of poker. No looky, jam at every 10 hands. Like just on your phone, have like a random number generator that just spits out, okay, this time I'm going to wait 7 hands and then go all in. Like literally not look at a single. You would do better than the lottery. And the thing that gets me about the lottery, and then I'll move on from the lottery, my lottery fired upness. They keep half the money for like whatever they're raising money for, like in Illinois, it's education, which I'm totally for. Like that's great. It's a great way to raise money. But then the people who win the $250 million jackpot, the state already got $250 million, right? Or they got their portion from it as well.
Yep.
Now I get $250 million, and then they go, "Oh wait, not only did you win, we're not going to pay you. We're going to pay you a small amount over the next 30 years, or you could take a lump sum, which means you're only going to get about half. And then when you get that half, we're going to tax it again on top of it." It's like, wait, what? You just kept like out of the dollar I spent on this ticket, you kept like 80 to 90% of it. Like, that doesn't seem right. Seems like bullshit. Seems like if you win the lottery, you should just, whatever the number gets, they just insta-wire you that money, and that's it. Boom. Go get it.
I agree.
Seems like a scam. Don't play the lottery.
Well,
play the early bird.
Next up.
Playing tight is always better.
Fiction.
Playing tight is always better. Yeah, fiction. No, you can't. Again, it's the absolutes. You cannot play only nit poker and expect to win. Nits are always surprised that they eventually they get rivered. And the reason you got rivered is you get no action on your good hands, and then you finally like flop a straight, and he's got a, set or a flush draw, and you lose, and you lose a big pot to the super aggressive guy, and you're like, man, that guy played like shit and he beat me. Yeah, it's just kind of you're just waiting for that to happen. Playing tight, you're just going to wait until you get it.
Yeah, you're going to get, basically what you meant to say there is you're going to get cooler a lot more when you're playing tight.
Thank you.
So everyone knows you have a hand, so they're only going to resist you with even better hands.
With better potential hands, right.
Or give you no action, and then you play 2 hands an hour, and we know you have aces, kings, or queens, and everybody just folds, and it's like, well, now you can't win.
Yeah, you can't. Actually, I would say playing tight is like the worst.
Playing only tight is very bad.
You got to mix it up. All right. Number 7. Only math geniuses can succeed in poker. Well, we certainly know that's where I stand on that one. Go ahead. Fact or fiction?
Another fiction. However, math wizards are generally better at the game.
Sure. You don't have to be
the only ones that win.
Right. You don't have to be that. I know plenty of people that couldn't balance a checkbook to save their life, and they're really good poker players. So it's not always about math, and there's a very specific type of math that helps with poker as well.
Phil Ivey's widely considered, the best all-around poker player in the world.
I would agree.
His math skills are not the best.
No.
I mean, obviously they're great.
They're good,
but they're not like world class.
He's not known as being an analytically like super math heavy poker player.
Like he plays a lot on feel and a lot on feel and a lot on live reads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're considered the best, you don't only have to have math. Correct.
You got to have a little bit of everything. I think all of these are there's degrees of truth to them, but they're not absolutes, and that's how we get away with it. Here's a big one that I feel like it's kind of awful. Poker's just gambling. When non-poker players tell you like, "Oh, you're just gambling your money away," and be like, "Well, no, blackjack is gambling my money away. Roulette is gambling my money away. Craps is gambling my money away. Poker is not in the realm of, I don't think of poker as gambling. Do you?
I don't know. When you put it as an absolute, poker is gambling.
There's a degree of gambling, sure.
That's how we're getting away.
I feel of it more, it's like a contest, though, like a chess game. I feel like it's more attuned to chess than, say, rolling dice or roulette or blackjack. Correct?
I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
But if you had to classify poker,
is chess gambling then?
I would have to classify it in
If you were playing chess for money, would that be gambling?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. If Bobby Fischer played me in chess for money, would that be gambling? Is Bobby Fischer still alive? Fact or fiction?
That would be robbery. That would be charitable donation by Ken. Hopefully you get a write-off on your taxes.
I play Bobby Fischer heads up every day for 365 days. What's my rating?
Like it's probably 0, right?
Yeah, I don't think I beat him one game. I think with that Magnus Carlsen guy, same thing. Like I'm never beating him in chess. No. I don't think he's ever going to beat me in golf. But the likelihood of him beating me in golf is significantly higher than me ever beating him in poker or in chess.
And that's why I think poker could be considered gambling, because, I mean, you can face the best poker player in the world and still beat him.
Still get lucky.
25% of the time.
Yeah. The gambling part of it is that there is variance. So anytime there's variance, like you have to do it. There's not really any variance in a better golfer playing against a much worse golfer, a better chess player playing against a much worse chess player. The variance, even if there is a variance, it's minuscule.
The variance is like injury or something,
right.
Not to do with
like I play against a new golfer, they're never going to beat me. It's never going to happen.
You can lose an arm. You'll probably.
I can play lefty. I can fall asleep for 10 minutes. Like whatever. Like it's never happening. And I'm not even that good. I'm pretty good, but I'm not that good. And I'm still in the top 2 or 3% of people who play golf. Maybe better, but regardless, humble brag, Ken.
Humble brag.
Okay, last two. You ready?
Ready.
This one's kind of lame. It's a fact. Aces always win.
Oh, fact.
Yeah, fact. 100%
Theoretically, it's a fact. If you get into an aces, you're printing money in the long term, regardless of what happens on the table.
I'm so happy that you went with that interpretation because I agree with you. In the long run, if we want to flip and I'm going to get aces every time and you get 2 random cards, pick any other 2 cards you want minus the other 2 aces. I will take that bet every day, all day long for the rest of my life, and I will print money.
Yep.
Just the way it is. I will print money. Now, does that mean aces always win in the sense of in the long run? Yes, aces will always win you more money than anything else. Just the way it is.
Sure. In the hand,
according
in the moment, no, you lose with aces all the freaking time.
Yeah, according to Poker GPT, pocket aces are the best starting hand, but they are far from invincible. Debunking the myth that having aces means an automatic win can be an interesting topic, especially when you dive into how they can be cracked. Well, you kind of let me down there, Poker GPT. I was hoping for something better than that.
You know what? Maybe we are better at poker.
Maybe I'm not as bad off. Maybe we could beat him sometimes. Okay, I think this is one, and it is subjective, and I kind of like it being the closer of our poker debunking mythbusters / fact or fiction. Tournaments are the easiest way to make money in poker.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
I told you, because it's kind of subjective. Like, it's not a math problem. It's not a specific hand. We don't have to, like, add anything to it going like, well, in the long run, obviously we're going tournaments versus cash games. What's the easiest way to make money in poker?
I was going to go with a third-party answer again, and I was going to say the easiest way to make money in poker is just teaching other people how to play poker and charging for it, because then you guarantee to win.
True, but that's not an option. That's not an option. Right. The easiest way.
I'm going to say fiction. Yeah, fiction.
You're going with fiction.
I think it's got to be easier to win money in a cash game. Simply because the cash tournaments...
So I want to give you a scenario before I answer.
How much you got to do to get in the top 15%?
All right, let's let's think about this, though, okay? Make it a problem. You've got $10,000. Mr. Beast comes to you and gives you $10,000, okay? Cash money, one brick. And it always reminds me of that, like, dodgeball scene with Ben Stiller, and he's like, have you ever seen $100,000? And he opens it up, and it's like this little brick of money. It's not very much at all. It's not as impressive as one would think. Mr. Beast gives you,
is a smaller brick.
yeah. You would think it would be like a bigger suitcase or like whatever. Like it's not. Like in Ocean's 11 when they're dragging out all those bags full of monies, I'm like, how much is actually in there? If Mr. Beast gave you $10,000 and then gave me $10,000 and I played tournaments and you played cash games and we had 30 days, and at the end of the 30 days, let's see whoever's got more money wins the big prize, Mr. Beast Lamborghini or something. Who do you think, in general, again, not me versus youth, I'm just thinking player A versus player B, one's going to go one way or one's going to go the other. Which way would you choose?
I would choose the cash games, no questions asked.
Yeah, I would too. But the likelihood
but
you
are at risk of like instantly losing.
Correct. Like
if somebody in the tournament side binks something. And
again, you could go broke in a cash game much faster. Like I could play
333s.
Yeah, whatever. I was trying to do fast math there, but
nice divisible number there.
Yeah, like I feel like, yeah, the rub there is that if you play in tournaments, like I believe your bankroll lasts longer. You can kind of go longer with losing sessions and still be okay. Whereas in cash games, that's not always the case. But I guess if you're playing like a 1-2 game.
No, but if you get to pick the limits and you get to pick the tournaments,
Yeah, no.
You would want to. You literally just start at 1-2.
Yeah, it's like, here's $10K at the beginning of the WSOP. One guy's going to play cash games the whole time of the WSOP. One guy's going to play WSOP events relative to whatever whatever we decide to give them one way or the other. $100,000. Make it where it's $100,000 each. Yeah, because now it's like, well, now I'm not so worried about playing like a $1,500 tournament. Or I don't have to nitpick as much. Like I can play bigger tournaments because I got $100K. Like I can play in the play more stuff. Play the main event. Like whatever. Cash one time, you just doubled that buy-in. I was thinking it was $10K. Yeah, but it's back to 100. But like. The likelihood.
It's a very good question.
It's weird. It's you could almost kind of say like tournaments easier might not be the less stressful might be a way to say it. It's a less stressful way to make money in poker. I feel like tournament players in the long run are significantly happier poker players. You never see like there are many people I can think of at CCG that are pretty much mostly tournament players, 90% of the time, and they still love the game. They still enjoy the game. They still come all the time. They enjoy being there. They have a great time. Win or lose, do not care. It's like they're truly there to have fun and play the game, which I think is like the ultimate spot to be in poker. It makes it such an enjoyable game when you're not frustrated by it, and you're still frustrated by it, but you're not like overkill frustrated about it. Think about a cash game player who's been in the cash game grinding it out for like 2 years. How often are those guys like just miserable fucks versus super happy-go-lucky players?
I can tell you right now, when I was grinding at the Horseshoe from 2017 to COVID, I was winning and was still pretty miserable.
Yeah.
Like winning, like doing well, and still just like, God, I hate this. What am I doing here? Hanging out with these same schmucks every day. I will say this. If it was me versus you, if it was a 2-person challenge, I would do cash games. If it was a 100-person or 1,000-person challenge, I would do tournaments.
I'm gonna go with this as well. I'm also gonna go with the fact that I have no idea what limits you're playing or where you're at in the contest at all times, and you have no idea what I'm doing in the tournament side at all.
That even makes it. Yeah, that makes it
even harder because you don't know where you need to be. Like maybe I binked a bracelet in a $1,500 deuce to 7
and I just don't know.
And you're fudge-olaed, or I would be like super user and just not play a single thing. Get to the end of the 30 days, and be like, I still have the 100K, and that's it.
I broke even.
In all honesty, like I would rather just like sit on my 100K for a month and then have Brando try to win or lose and go from there and be like, is Brandon a winning poker player in 30 days with 100K playing 10, 20 pot limit Omaha. Like, you're either going to have like 1.5 million or be busto on week 1.
Agreed.
And then I just be like, Mr. Beast is like, Ken, this is not cool. Like, the other guy's out of money, can't play anything else, and like you've already won. So yippee, here's your Lamborghini. Wahoo!
Okay, so if you put in the thing that you don't know where the other person's at all times, I am gonna go switch over to tournaments.
that changes it for you?
Yeah, I'm switching over to
that's so gross.
Because now I'm going for the like, I'm gonna try and win the most amount of money, and just as opposed to just like take the less variance scenic route of the cash games, and hopefully you lose and I can break even. I
kind of super dig this idea. I kind of feel like there's a promo in here somewhere. We should have like I don't know how you could do a P versus P. Like, I want to get, I don't know. Like, I think this is a super fun thing that like Poker News should do. Mr. Beast, if you're listening to this podcast, which I'm sure he does, could you please do a WSOP like random player versus random player?
His name's Jimmy, and me and Jimmy are good friends.
Oh,
fiction.
Yeah, had me going there. I was like, what?
But his name is Jimmy. His name
is Jimmy. He's a perfect Jimmy. I do like watching Mr. Beast videos. If you don't have kids, young children like I do, and Brandon's always stuck watching my nephews and niece. You watch a lot of Mr. Beast in this time of day and age. Like, if you're around small children in any way, shape, or form, he's pretty good. He's good entertainment. I see why he gets millions and millions of views. It's good entertainment.
He's like the only YouTuber I know that I can watch a 28-minute video.
And I'm totally cool with it. And I don't feel like I wasted anything.
Like other people, I can't get through. If I'm looking and the video's 7 minutes and it's minute 2, I'm like, I'm out.
And here's the other thing. I physically, fact or fiction, I could not give you another like name
YouTuber
of a
name.
I don't. I know Ninja was a guy at one point, but like I don't even know if he's around, and I don't even know what he does. I just know his name because it was a cool name, Ninja. I'm afraid of ninjas in general. It's like one of my things. Like, people are afraid of clowns.
Still around.
Like, I'm afraid of ninjas. Not the YouTuber, but like in general. Like,
for sure.
Like, hooded figures in the dark.
Scary.
I'm always worried about ninjas. We did go to Spirit of Halloween last night. We bought all the kids their Halloween costumes. A lot of Descendants for the girls, and Harrison finally picked. He changed his mind like 8 times. He finally picked Captain America. I love it. It's like the super buff suit. So like he's like, Dad, I got muscles. I was like, you look scary, man. Like, this is awesome. And then we couldn't find him the shield because they were all out. So I was like, well, Captain America uses Thor's hammer, like, later. He does use it. Like, he ends up carrying that. I'm like, do you want to bring that? He's like, yeah, I could be like later Captain America. I was like, hell yeah, bro. Like, get in there. You can still be Captain America with Thor's hammer. He uses it.
I love the combo suits. It's the best.
I think it's great. And he didn't like the masks. Fact or fiction, it was 100% fact that he did not want to wear like all the Fortnite stuff, which is what he wanted originally. They all have masks. Covers
his whole face.
And I've never been a mask person. I don't like wearing a mask. I find it hard to breathe. I can't see anything. I feel like all your senses are muffled. Like, I don't know how people do it. So like the Captain America thing's cool because it's like a skull cap that just like, and it with like eye holes. So like it's not as bad. So he was very excited about his mask and he also had to get Captain America gloves. That's how they get you at Spirit. Fact or fiction. It's all the bonus
the Captain
shit.
America shoots $39.99.
But it doesn't include boots or shields, gloves, right? Belts. No accessories. It's like, fuck. Plus, the nice thing is, like, him and the neighborhood kids will like dress up in all his old Halloween costumes that he still can wear, like a Sonic, and we have a Spider-Man one that the kid down the street wears, and it's great. They love it. That's a fact.
Nice.
All right. Well, this one was kind of fun. I like it. I really liked our Mr. Beast scenario and how we would beat that in real life.
It would have to be like online poker, $100,000 bankroll.
Oh,
1 year.
Wow. Yeah.
$10,000 bankrolls 1 year, go.
Jesus.
One guy grinds cash, one guy grinds tournaments, whatever limits you want, but you can't see the other side.
I'm sure they're smart enough to be like, you have to do something. You can't just not play. Or maybe you can. Maybe that's the whole point. Third guy's just not going to play anything. Or he can flip-flop. Ooh. Anyways. Super fun.
Ooh, flip flop would be sick.
If you're listening to us during the WSOP, look for Brandon and I at some point. Check out your other CCG players. If people are asking, hey, where do you play? Let them know the best place in Chicago to play tournaments, CCG Poker, the sponsor of this podcast.
Fact.
Thanks for listening, Brando. Lead us out of here.
Farewell all.
See you, everybody.